That one time, Amtrak wrote a short story. You're stuck in a time loop, but can't tell because you're on a train going through the Great Plains Traveler's Log. I regret buying this ticket. It has been 73 hours of corn. I feel as though I may never see my wife again. The windmills turn, and yet nothing ever seems to move with the wind. This is a forsaken place. I am yet to see the river, and despite the speed of this train, I have come to doubt it shall ever arrive. The faces all seem the same. Nobody seems to age or sleep, and the sun never sets. I believe this place may be hell. If the letter somehow gets off this train, tell my wife I'm sorry. I finally saw a new face. I feel as though this hell may be ending after 382 long hours. The new man had slick, jet-black hair, pale, hollow skin, and eyes the color of amber. He was beautiful. He seemed trustworthy. I have all but lost count of the hours and days, but that doesn't matter. I saw the doves today. The strange man told me the secrets of the world. His name is Lucille Fur, and I find myself in love. I feel that he won't leave me like those before him did. His lips were warm, but my energy feels drained. I have not aged, and yet I am less able and strong than I was before. But that doesn't matter now. The radio has stopped broadcasting. It is finally twilight. I am nearing freedom. Lucille's skin seems to glow in the hazy dusk light. He told me his dreams. He is beginning to scare me, and yet I can stop my love of him. Night approaches. I found a mirror in the woman's bag. My face has become pale, and my eyes are the same shade as his when he arrived. This shall be my final entry. I am free, and the sun has set. I no longer need live this sham identity. Researchers log number 5. I found a journal in the wreckage of the California Zephyr. The dates imply that this passenger had spent 3 years on board this train before the crash. It seems to line up with the time that one of the trains was missing. I will update the Foundation as I find out more about the crash. Number 7. This journal is the key to the mystery. We may be able to find her if I can decipher what happened on the journey. There appears to have been involvement from the entity based off of early descriptions of the phenomenon. 16. I am urging the Foundation to end the experiment. The fate of humanity hangs in the balance. The entity clearly has a stronger foothold than previously thought. This may have connections to Istanbul. I believe the doves still fly. 18. I have been removed from my position and am being replaced with Donovan. Those fools, they don't know what forces they are messing with. I must hide the journal. D1. The journal remains a missing variable, but using the notes of my predecessor, I believe I can find the asset and the girl for the Foundation. My predecessor's disloyalty may have harmed our goals, but they will not stop our advance. The energy signature seen in Kansas and Istanbul is beginning to re-emerge in the San Francisco Bay. The girl is there. I recommend we send a task force with haste to relocate the assets. Undisclosed astrology blog. In San Francisco, the stars shall align tonight for the perfect constellations to be visible as the lunar eclipse arrives. The best place to see the stars is in the north, where there is less light pollution. Cable news report. A pair of strange bodies of light have been seen moving over the Rockies tonight. The U.S. Air Force has stated they are just jet tests, but many on the ground believe different, saying they have seen humanoid figures in the light log. D4. They are moving. We must mobilize forces in SF now. S1. Donovan's blunder has cost him his job and 17 task force members. Good. He didn't deserve the glory of solving the Istanbul incident. That glory belongs to an established and loyal member of the Institute, such as myself. The photos from San Fran are valuable. From them, we can see that the events occur in line with celestial events, such as the lunar eclipse or the spring equinox. There will need to be investment to cover up the damage to the recreation area. The photographs of the entities show that one was human initially, as in line with previous reserves into the journal. We have deduced the journal down to 5 locations for its hiding place. He may be disloyal, but he wasn't clever. Independent researchers log. News has reached me of what Donovan has done in California. I hope the catastrophe has led the Foundation to abandon their hunt for me in the journal. Nothing good can come from investigating these entities. I keep the journal to figure out about the crash. Once I have that figured out, I plan to burn it. It's what Delilah would have wanted. I must move soon. They are going to find me soon if I don't. New York sounds nice. Excerpt from the audio logs of the director. Sylvia has taken authority in the hunt for the entity. While she does not always know her place, she has the Institute's goals gain her heart. We both seek to find and destroy the entity from Istanbul and to harness its power for the benefit of mankind. The seal was broken by mankind for a reason, and that reason was to harness the power of the gods, my associates. I know that the disaster in San Francisco may have dissuaded you from continuing your investment in our work, but I assure you we are close to capturing the Rouge researcher and learning what happened on that train. Thank you for your time. Thank goodness that is over. Hey you, send the investors the map of locations where the journal is hidden. They will want to see it. Copy of the map of locations that the journal could be located in, according to the beliefs of the Institute. Red is a high likelihood of it being hidden there. The places marked in red on the map are Chicago, Detroit, Toronto, Cape May, and New York City. Blue is a low likelihood, but still enough to merit investigation. The locales marked in blue are Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Omaha, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. Independent researchers. Log. I have been able to get set up with a cheap apartment in Chelsea with the help of an old friend from before the institute was founded. She was one of the 5 of us who saw what happened when the seal broke in Istanbul, and she urged me not to work with them. She was right, of course, as always, but I think I will be safe in New York. There are so many people here that the institute could never find me. I have begun reading the journal one last time. I think I have it all figured out. I just need to head to the library to check one last thing about the Citadel. Special news report: an accident at the New York Public Library's library has caused a bookshelf to fall over onto a local man, permanently paralyzing him from the waist down. Thankfully, he was able to survive, as if he had been standing just a few feet closer to the center of the bookshelf, it would have unalived him. Log. With my legs immobilized, I am no longer able to continue running. I fear they have already found me. It is sooner than I would have liked, but I won't let them get the best of me. Before I die, I shall burn the journal and all my photographs and notes. They won't get anything back. This power cannot be allowed to fall into his hands, and if my last act was to stop him, then it was worth it. And with these final words, I strike the match. Researchers, log S27. I told them not to take action till we had the journal, but would they listen to me? Of course not. And now, he's expletive bested us. The journal and anything else of value we could get from him burned in the fire. It is time for drastic measure. We move on to Istanbul tonight. I must recreate the conditions of its birth to bring glory to the director. Our purpose is holy, and the actions of one foolish man won't stop the course of God. If that man survived his fire, he'll wish he hadn't. Cable news report: the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul has collapsed in on itself, unaliving over 20 tourists and locals. The building, built by Emperor Justinian in the 600s, was an icon of the city for centuries, and is considered an architectural masterpiece by millions. The mayor of Istanbul has called its collapse the greatest tragedy to hit Istanbul in decades. There is no word as to whether the structure will be rebuilt. At the time of collapse, 3 beams of green light were films erupting from the mosque. Researchers, log S29. We have broken the final seal. It all has come to this. It will be glorious. Journal of the young boy. I saw the Americans enter the cistern in the early morning. I heard the rumor of what they planned to do, and so I followed. They entered a hidden passageway, and when they opened the door, there stood a man. He floated in the air and had a bluish tint to his skin. One of the Americans found a blade and broke 3 urns in the room with it. Suddenly the cistern shook, and I began to run. I saw a flask of green light as I ran. I fear for what may have happened down there. Current year, 2029. The Journal of Sylvia Wren, Paris, May Day, 2026. I was at the protests to observe and report back to the Institute. We wanted to make sure our research in France wasn't coming into question. But then something happened. A man, pale and dark-haired, stepped into the crowd and redirected their rage as if he was angelic. I knew in that moment that we had to harness this power. So I have booked a flight to Istanbul with Redacted, Delilah, Redacted, and Donovan to figure out what the pale man means. We believe he has some connection to the energy signature we have been detecting there. Inscription on the wall within the secret tomb, photographed by a member of the Institute during the Hagia Sophia expedition. The 3 princes lie hidden in these walls. The first shall appear within the past to warn of the others, his body pale and hair like coal. The second shall be birthed in eternity by the love of the first, and the third shall be freed from his 3 urns by a woman from a land foreign to this land. A second photograph shows the inscription that appeared on a different wall when the wall was touched. The first prince has been freed and has found his lover. Turn back. The third cannot be controlled and seeks to bring his fire to humanity. The devil can die and lover can be returned, but the fire can only be sealed once. A final grainer photo of yet another wall reads as follows: We who were born 1,000 years before you ask that you respect these ancient lands and end your search. Nothing good comes from the unsealing of the flame. The librarian's log. The Institute has returned to Istanbul. The researcher is presumed dead. We must leave New York with haste. The fire will be coming soon. I have bought 4 tickets to Philadelphia. There should be safe for a time. Log S35. We have begun to find reason to believe that a copy of the journal was made. We believe it is in the hands of whoever got him that expletive apartment. We will capture the owner of the journal and force them to hand over the data. We need to control the flame. It is imperative to the Institute's success. Librarian's travel log. Wow, the Acela is effing expensive. Why on earth did I buy 4 tickets for it? I know that need to get there with haste, but how did she convince me of this? At least they have an effing cafe car. I got the cheese and fruit plate. I love Gouda cheese like any normal person, and upon seeing it on the menu, I had to order it. The food was good. I enjoyed the cheeses, but I wonder why they still had the lunch menu at this hour. Something feels off about this train. The snow is frozen in the air. It will not move. The snow on the glass does not melt. The train is moving, but it almost feels as though the snowstorm is following us from New York. The train has come to a stop in some wooded area in New Jersey. I heard the doors open, and now 2 men are sitting behind me that weren't there before. The other 3 are still in the seating. I am alone in this car. Luckily, I have a silver dagger in my pocket. I may need it this time. Oh God, what had this world come to? I stabbed one of the men. He seems unkillable. The train has crashed. I fear they're dead. I fear she's dead. Only my car was remained on the track. I had to run. I had no other choice. I didn't cause this. I don't deserve this. I can't write any longer. The future doesn't deserve to hear these thoughts. I have gotten a smaller apartment than expected and will be going at this project solo for now. Journal belonging to a summer tourist, Cape May, June of 2029. The beach was less enjoyable than previous years. The waves seemed harsher and there was a constant clicking sound. I may have been on edge from the lighthouse fire, but I really feel that I may not come back again. There was some sort of librarian convention happening as as well, so the beach was full and the hotels were expensive. I also bumped into a middle-aged man in a wheelchair. He was kinda rude, so that sours my day even more. I am probably going to splurge and head to Florida next year, see Marie and all that jazz. The librarian's log. I stood alone in the rain tonight. I thought I saw her in University City, but it was some other girl. I know she's gone, but I can't help but see her face on every woman I see in this city. We were going to do this together. She was the smart one. All I can do is read some stupid books and remember some silly incantations. She could make use of that nonsense, far more than me. If anyone should have made it to Philadelphia, it should have been her. I have found a job at the library in University City, but it's hard to do this without her.